Well, good evening, everyone. I'm so excited about tonight. I just think this is going to be inspiring and motivating. And so, as you probably read on your invitation, the topic for tonight, the power of authorship and the book in you. And Dave Combs is a dear friend of mine. And, I'm very blessed to have friends, but Dave is one of my dearest friends. And we've known each other. I originally met Dave's wife, Dr. Linda Morrison Combs, when she was the Assistant Secretary of Education in Washington, D.C., and I was in the process of growing civil learning centers. And so Linda and I met and we kind of became friends right off. And then not too long after that, Dave was in my neck of the woods and we got to meet face to face. And we've just been, at least from my side, we've been dear friends since then. So, David, it's so nice to have you here tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm just terribly excited because uh, you need to know, and you already know that you are one of my very best friends in the whole world as well. So I feel like we're practically like brothers. When I need some advice, all I have to do is pick up the phone and call Barry, and we'll work everything out, and it all comes out good.
That's so nice of you to say that. Well, let me talk about something, and this is crazy because Dave's book, Touched by the Music, how the story and music of Rachel's song can change your life. Um, I got to vicariously tag along on the journey of how the book came together. And it was really one of the most meaningful things that I've ever done as my friend Dave Combs navigated this incredible journey of putting together this amazing book. And I actually sent out a blast a week or two ago about the launch of Dave's book, and I got a chance to go to a virtual launch. And Dave, you had about 400 people show
Yeah.
up. That was really fun.
Yeah,
But
we had people from all over the country and some people from Canada, and I'm not sure exactly where else, but boy, we had if we'd have had it here, we couldn't have fit them all in the house. That's for sure.
yeah, and they're so nice, and there's so many great compliments and stuff, and it was an honor to be part of that as well. But your book is I think the perfect holiday gift. I mean, it's an incredible story, an incredible journey that you share, and it all starts with some music that you put together. And many of us have probably heard Rachel's song. And I know that when Dave started telling me about his book, one of the things that he did is share some of the thousands of letters that people have written over the years talking about how touched they were by Dave's music. And as he was kind of formulating the book, he said, I have all these great testimonials. And I tell you, I call it a two tissue box moment. As I was reading, I mean, they're so touching and true. And so let's see, how do we want to start? How did you, first of all, tell us about how you came about writing Rachel's song?
Well, all my life I've been around music. I grew up in a musical family. My mother and father both played. My father played by ear. His mother, my Granny Combs, she played by ear. And so I really just grew up kind of knowing how to play the piano or at least play something. And all through my life, when I needed some time or some way to relax or take my mind off my troubles, or if there were any, or stress, de-stress, I would sit down at the piano and just play something, either play a song, one of my favorite songs, or get the sheet music out for it, or or just doodle around on the piano. And so that's kind of how I started with my music. And in December of 1980, I lost my father to a car wreck 3 days before Christmas. And that was my first taste of real emotion and grief and so forth. And I remember that next month after the funeral and everything, I remember sitting down at my piano, and after I had tuned it, and I always like to play something pretty after I've freshly tuned my piano, and it was a 100-year-old piano. It wouldn't hold its tune, so I constantly had to take my tuning hammer and tune it up. But anyway, I sat down this one evening at the piano, and I just started playing. And I didn't even know what I was playing, except that I liked what I heard. It was the piano and I were just kind of having a conversation, if that makes sense. And the notes that I played, it was a pretty melody, and I played a verse and I played a chorus and played it again. And I thought, wow, this is really, I love playing this. But I never thought about it as writing a song, because it was just something that I played that in my mind, it felt like it had been there for a million years. So a couple of days later, my wife came home from work. She was working at the local bank, and I was already home, and she came in and said, "Dave, what is this song, the name of this song that I've got stuck in my head all day long?" And you know how you get a song hung and you hum it all day long in your head. And she hummed a little bit of it, and I said, "Well, it doesn't have a name." And she says, "What do you mean it doesn't have a name? You play it on the piano all the time." And I said, "Well, it's just something I made up." And so she got all excited, and she said, "Well, have you written it down?" And I said, "No, I've got it up here." And she said, "Well, you better write it down. Something might happen to you and that song would be gone." So I did eventually write down the notes and the chords, and I stuck it in my piano bench, and I'd still play the song periodically. And then a couple of years later, some dear friends of ours had a little baby girl, and her name was Rachel. And her parents asked us, me and Linda, to be her godparents. And at her christening service on a beautiful Saturday, it was just us and the family, and we're sitting there in this christening service, listening to the minister say all these nice things about Rachel and so forth. At the end of that, I whispered to Linda, I said, "Hey, Linda, do you think I could play this little song that I wrote?" And she said, "Yeah, maybe." So I went up to the family and I said, it'd be okay to play this song? They had a beautiful grand piano at the front of the church. And so they said, okay, of course. And so I walked over to the piano, sat down, and I just started playing this song. Now, up to this point, remember, the song didn't have a name. And so when I finished playing the song, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. You could just hear the Kleenex box needed to make its round through the church. So, and I had tears running down my cheeks. And so when the last note was played, I looked over at little Rachel in the arms of her mother, and I said, "From now on, this song will be called Rachel's Song in her honor." And I mean, that just was the perfect fit. The name and the song and everything was just perfect. So that's how I ended up writing the song, although I really think it was just a gift to me from God Almighty that He allowed me to play it for the first time and then name it for this sweet little girl.
And since then, your song has been heard all over the world. And one of the things that I so love about your book is, and I kind of call it a life is orchestrated by God. And I love the story of the journey that you've been through. So 1980, when Rachel's song was first conceived, to last year, when you decided that you would write your book. And how long from the time you actually made the commitment to write your book, what was the first thing that you did?
Well, it's kind of very timely for tonight, because it was almost exactly this time a year ago that Linda and I were sitting in this very room talking about what do we need to do. We've been sitting here now for this pandemic has kept us inside the walls of the house for all this time. What do we need to do to get ourselves out of this mode of just being confined?
Yep.
And so we both had talked for a long time, especially Linda. She has tried to encourage me to write a book of all these stories, because I have had over 50,000 people write to me and tell me how much my music had blessed them. So I had boxes and boxes of stories from others that were touched by my music. And so Linda and I thought, well, we need to find some way to incorporate all those sweet and touching stories in a book that would inspire other people. But I had never written a book before, and Linda fortunately had, but in my case, I need a lot of help, because I have so many stories to tell, not just the ones that have been told to me, but my journey from 1980 till now was not a straight line. There were a lot of, I've started with one song, ended up writing over 120 songs. I have 14 albums now, and the story of how did I market and sell my music? Record stores wouldn't sell it for me. So I had to develop my own sales channel for my music, which was through gift shops. Yep. And it came to be known as the play and sell market. In other words, they play the music, people hear it, want to buy it, and it's an impulse buy. They buy it and take it home. So it's play and sell market. Yeah. Well, I ended up with over 1,000 gift shops across the entire country playing and selling my music. Well, the stories of how I went through that process and building that business side of the music is another whole series of an entrepreneurial story of how to build a business.
I was going to mention that. That's what, me, I'm entrepreneur in my heart, and passionate about entrepreneurship, and your book, besides your passion of the music, it was your dedication to getting your music to others through your entrepreneurial spirit that I found so interesting and fascinating as well.
Well, I felt a real obligation, Barry, that I had been given this wonderful song, and it would be really, really bad if I just put this under a bushel and never shared it with anybody.
Yeah.
And so as I saw what the music did for people, and it touched them and helped their lives, that was really a compelling reason for me to consider, now I need to write a book and tell other people about this, that hopefully they will be inspired not only by the stories, but then they'll also go and listen to the music.
Yeah.
And so I have a mission of trying to get as many people on this planet to hear this music as possible. And that's a big motivation.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you've already made such a stride in terms of, your music is played, as I say, all over the world, and it's the symphony orchestra have played Rachel's song, I know, and there's so many people that I've talked to, when I mention it, oh, I know that. And so you've already touched so many millions of people, and I think through your book you're going to touch so many more. So so a year ago, just about right now, you made the commitment you're going to write a book. And so what did you do next?
Well, I think one of the things that Linda and I quickly realized is that we can't do this all by ourselves. The writing and publishing of a book in today's digital world is vastly different than it used to be when she wrote her paper book, and basically we self-published it. Yep. Today it's all digital. It's all the primary seller of books is on Amazon. Yep. And there are you no longer have to print up 10,000 books and have a garage full of boxes of books that you just pray, I hope I can sell these. They have, when you place it through Amazon, it's print on demand. You order one book, they print one book. Yep. You order 10 books, they print 10 books. And it's not just a long time to wait for it either. When I sent my digital files to Amazon for my new book on a Tuesday, 1 week, I ordered 2 copies for proof copies. And I thought, well, I'll get them in a week or so, whatever. Thursday morning, my doorbell rings. There's a box on my front porch with my 2
Oh my
books.
gosh.
I mean, that's 48 hours later, and that's from the time I pushed the button till the driver got here. So
Wow.
it's very different world for publishing. And but to start with, when we've talked about writing the book, of course, I had to pull together all the stories and try to figure out how to put them in some kind of a story arc, and what do you put in the book, what do you leave out, and that kind of thing. But I quickly recognized that I needed a team of people, of experts, just like in your business with coaching. You need a team of people around you that can support what you do. And when you have something that you're not the expert in, you know who to turn to. Well, that person they know that's their bailiwick. They know how to do that.
Yep.
And to be quite honest, Barry, you were one of those people. I picked up the phone and I spent, I guess, hours talking to you about this book, about how should I do this? And you were so encouraging. I think the first time I ever heard print on demand was when Barry told me about it. So, you need a team. And so the first thing we did, Linda and I found a wonderful team out of Pennsylvania. It's Bradley Communications. Steve Harrison and Bill are the 2 partners in this business. And he has put together, that's his whole purpose in life, is to help people write and publish and market books. And he has pulled together a team of expert writers and every aspect of writing and publishing, so that you pay a fee to join the team, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not going to get something like that for free.
Right.
But having a team like that can help you, pull you through the process, get you over the humps, and help get you unstuck when you get stuck on something, that was so important. And I think, one of the first things I did was sign up for a seminar, a 3-day retreat, actually, a virtual retreat with Jack Canfield.
Yeah.
Now, those of you that know Jack Canfield, he is the most successful published author, I think, in the world. He's sold over 750 million copies of his books, the Chicken Soup for the Soul series and his The Success Principles book. But over those 3 days, I got to spend time with Jack. And it was really, I think it was providential that I did this, because Jack and I just bonded. I mean, we clicked. And he became a very, very fine friend of mine. And he has written the foreword to my book, which of all, I couldn't have asked for anybody better to write the foreword to my book than Jack. And so he was another member of the team that kind of just fell in place. So that's the part of this that I really feel so strongly about, is don't try to do your book all by yourself. You can, but it's going to take you a long time. And what you end up with may not be the best quality book that you could have had you had a really first-class team around you and behind you, helping you get to the finish line on it.
Yeah. I think that makes absolute sense. And Jack Canfield, I mean, he's he's a brand on his own, and I know you shared some of your experience with him, and then to have him do your forward, amazing. But it doesn't surprise me, Dave, because every step of the way, from the time you originally created Rachel's Song and your commitment to get it published and out, you've surrounded yourself with some incredible people. You're a magnet to great people, and your tenacity and your commitment is another part of the story that I enjoyed so much, because I mean, you actually, you had a day job, didn't you, when you were?
I worked 22 and a half years for AT&T. And finally was able to quit my job after 22 and a half years. But a lot of that time, maybe about 5 years of it, I was doing my music at night and weekends and my day job at AT&T. So it was.
Yeah. Well, I love those stories about how you didn't take no for an answer. You had your vision, you developed your plan, and you took your actions. And that's what, that's what we as coaches, I mean, that's exactly what we help our clients to do. And you did that, through that crystal clear vision of where you want it to go with your music, and developing a plan, and taking a curve if necessary in order to get where you want it to be, and to actually get out there and do things. And that's what I so much enjoyed about your book as well, and those great relationships
Yes.
that you developed along the way that are still your
Oh,
close friends.
yeah. The Gary Prim, the artist that I've met that recorded the demo record of
Yeah,
Rachel's song. In
yeah,
fact, when you hear Rachel's song on whatever medium you hear it, on a CD or streaming on the internet, that song is the very same recording that was the demo recording that Gary Prim did for me. It has never been changed, not been edited or remastered or anything. That is the original demo recording. And that to me is what's so amazing, that you can have something that started out at such a high level of quality that it never needed to be changed, and it was already where it needed to be.
yeah.
And that song launched everything from then on, because I then realized that this is, as I said to myself when I first heard it, this is it. I didn't know what it was, but but I knew this was it.
Yeah, yeah,
And it sure was.
yeah, and I love the story about how you met Gary, and the recording studio that you actually went to, and the fellow that ran that, and the engineer, and I mean, it was, and once again, back to the entrepreneurial thing of just getting on the phone and making cold calls and going into it's just a wonderful story, and it's truly one of the most enjoyable books I've read, and I highly recommend it. Your friends, they'll love it, and I know, if you're like me, you'll need some Kleenex. And so, can I ask, would you play Rachel's song for us?
I would be more than happy to. And I need to move my microphone over to the piano
Okay.
so the sound will be a little bit better.
If you haven't heard it before, you're in for an incredible treat. If you've heard it before, you'll smile with your heart.
Okay, well, this is Rachel's song on my Steinway piano, which I love here at home.
goodness. Every single time, my friend. Every single time. That was so special, Dave. Thank you so much. I have something I'm going to treasure in this recording for a long time. So, Liz, what about you? I see you're having a question.
Well, I've heard Rachel's song before, so I came prepared this time.
The next box.
Dave,
Me too.
yeah,
That's 2 boxes.
I'm speechless. It's Dave was just, when you speak about it, what it's such a gift, and I just love your, Barry loves your entrepreneurial spirit, but I just love your passion for seeing this gift through and ensuring that you give it to as many people as possible. And I just think it's so beautiful. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Liz. That really means a lot, because that truly is my mission. And every time I've played it, I don't have many thousands of times I've played it. It still touches me too, because there's just something about that song that speaks really deeply in your heart and soul. And no matter what mood you're in, if you're in a happy mood, a sad mood, or you're going through tough times or happy times, whatever, it seems there's a part of that song that touches that. So thank you for asking me to play it. I always enjoy playing it.
Well, it was very special. And I see, speaking of special, I see my friend, Linda.
Yes. Hi, Gary. Hi, everyone. I've been listening in the background there.
I'm so glad you popped in to say. Now you're going to sing, is that right, Linda?
The song fortunately has no words, so everybody can create their own words.
So has your husband changed at all since he's become a very famous author? I mean, he's already a famous musician, but
he still took out the garbage tonight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a reality check, huh?
Oh yes.
Well, great. So, Dave, besides Rachel's song, you have over 100 other beautiful songs that you share. And if any of our coaches want to know more and certainly want to get your new book, they can go to combsmusic.com.
Yes.
And for your book, they can also go to Amazon and just search Dave Combs or search Touched by the Music, and it's very easy to go straight to your page.
Yeah, I was excited today. I played around with Amazon search a little bit, and I found that it will go straight to my book if you only put 2 words in, touched and music. Mine pops at the very top. So, but anyway, the easiest way is just to go to Combs Music, because right on my first homepage of my website, you'll see my book. If you click there, it takes you right to the Amazon page.
Excellent. And on your Combs Music, they can also get straight to more of your music as well.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Trying to keep it simple and not too flashy and complicated. Just get right to it.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and your music. And I love both of you so much, and I'm so glad that you had time to share with us this evening.
Well, there's nobody dearer to my heart, mine, and Linda's than you and Ann as well. And we just love you guys, and I'm so honored that you would have me as part of your program tonight. And I hope that we can make a connection with all your many fans out there, the thousands of people that you have touched over the years as well. Thank you, Barry.
Of course, of course. And with that, I'll say good night. We love you all, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night.